Hey riddle lovers, ready to take your brain for a marathon? Well then, let's go. Two friends meet in the street. Ben says he's heading to house number 23. Jeremy says he's going to visit his friend who lives in house number 7. Can you tell which one is Ben and which one is Jeremy? Ben is the one wearing the cap. Look closely at the house number. It's 19. If you walk from the beginning of the street, odd number houses are on the left side. The guy in the cap is walking in the direction of large numbers, so he must be Ben. In the evening, a woman said, "My cat has disappeared." The window was closed, the door was locked, no signs, no sounds. Where did the cat go if the house was completely closed? The cat never really left. It crawled into a slightly open drawer of the dresser and fell asleep there. The woman didn't check it, but no one can trick you. A tiny tip of the cat's tail is sticking out. And while we're on the topic of pets, here's a fashion dilemma. If dogs wore pants, would they wear them like this or like this? The more accurate version would be the one on the right, on the hind legs, just like humans. That's because pants are clothing for the lower part of the body, and in dogs, that means the hind legs. The front legs are more like arms than legs. You're in your cabin. You travel exactly 100 miles south. Then you see a bear. You travel exactly 100 miles east, and the bear runs away. You travel exactly 100 miles north, returning to your cabin. What color is the bear? The bear has to be white. This riddle only makes sense if your cabin is at the North Pole. Going 100 miles south, then 100 miles east, which doesn't change your latitude much at the pole, and then 100 miles north brings you back to the original position. 3 friends are taking part in a high-fashion photo shoot, and each of them has carefully picked her outfit. But one of them is hiding a secret. She's pregnant. Can you figure out who's expecting just by spotting one little detail? Must be the girl in the middle, the one wearing the pink heels with rhinestones. If you look closely, her right shoe is buckled on the last hole as if her foot has slightly swollen. Also, platform shoes offer more stability than stilettos. She must be trying to stay stylish while concealing her pregnancy. John has a small shop that sells socks. One day, he decided to attract more people and launched an advertisement. Socks for free. Many people came there, but all the customers had to pay, even though the socks were free. Why? John would only give the left sock to his customers. The socks were good and people wanted to buy the second one. Who needs only one sock after all? Kelly works as a barista. This morning she dropped a cup full of coffee. Luckily, her white shirt wasn't stained, but it took a while to clean up the mess. How come? I never told you the coffee was liquid. There were coffee beans in the cup. They ended up right under the counter. Phil Adams, who didn't really like modern art, rushed into the city gallery and caused millions of dollars worth of damage to several paintings. Yet the manager of the gallery thanked Mr. Adams for what he did to them. How come? Phil was a firefighter. The water from his hose damaged several masterpieces, but he still managed to extinguish the fire and save many more exhibits. Angie put a coin into an empty bottle and plugged it tightly with a cork. Then she told her friend she'd take out the coin without breaking the bottle or taking out the cork. And she did it. Can you guess how? Angie just pushed the cork into the bottle and then shook it to make the coin fall out. Easy peasy. Mike was about to fail his exam, but the kind professor gave him one last chance. The guy had to arrange 4 9s to make them equal 100. He could use any math symbols. How can he do it? Mike activated all of his math skills and some common sense to figure out the answer. Lena and Tina are best friends, but recently they had a huge scandal. Lena is trying everything to make Tina forgive her. She sends her a strange coded message. What did Lena try to say? she wanted to say forgive in this unusual way. Doesn't look convincing enough to me. A dangerous criminal escaped and is headed to the airport to leave the country. The security knows he'll try to use a fake ID, so they check everyone thoroughly and find 3 main suspects. Can you guess which passport is fake out of these 3? Different countries have different rules, but I'm sure no one would let their citizens use a selfie with someone else's hand on their shoulder as a passport photo. So Jin Beam must have just made this fake passport. Mr. Focus often offers other people adventurous bets. This time, he said he could throw a ball and it would come back to him every time. He also said there would be no obstacle or wall that the ball could ricochet from. Other people think it's impossible and lose the bet. So what's the deal here? Mr. Focus throws the ball straight up. It obviously comes back to him every time. Nancy is taking part in a TV quiz where she can win 1 pound of pure gold. At the end of the show, the host brings her 3 large jars. Each of them has 1 pound of pure gold inside, but also some unpleasant surprises. The first jar has venomous spiders inside, the second one is full of acid, and the third one is filled with boiling hot water. Nancy can only use her hands to get the gold out, and she has 30 minutes to finish. Can you help her? She should choose the jar with hot water. It's gonna get almost lukewarm in half an hour. Michael is trapped in a room. It's slowly filling with water that's coming from a tap in the wall. There are no windows in the room and the door is blocked. Michael has a mop and a big bucket. What can he do to survive? Well, the only thing the guy needs to do is to turn off the tap to keep the water from coming. Sally invited all her friends to her favorite restaurant to celebrate her birthday. She got her dream present, a ring with a huge diamond. Suddenly, the room plunged into darkness. After several minutes of total confusion, the lights came back on, but Megan's ring was gone. Look at the picture to try to figure out who stole it. It was the waiter. Look at the glass he's holding. He put the ring inside, and now there's much more water in it. A group of students went to visit an art gallery that has paintings from famous artists from different countries. Half an hour into the excursion, an alarm went on as one of the students was trying to damage one of the paintings. Since they all have uniforms, it's impossible to tell who exactly just from the CCTV footage. 3 possible suspects all have their excuses. Ashley said, "I love the painting so much I texted my mom about it. Why would I damage it?" Dawn said, "I didn't stay long in that room as I wanted to see the ancient mammal bones." Steve said, "Professor, I was just following you." One of these students is lying, but who? Dawn is lying, as there can be no mammal bones in an art gallery with paintings. How many of these mind-twisting riddles did you manage to solve? Feel free to share in the comments below.
Now, this is a picture on the door of a restroom in a restaurant. What does this thing mean? Can you guess? It translates as ladies first. In one of these school restroom stalls, a fugitive who escaped custody and disguised herself to blend in is hiding. But she's made some crucial mistakes. Can you figure out which one is the criminal, left or right? The criminal is in the right stall. At first glance, the person inside looks like your typical good girl. But if you take a closer look, you'll notice that there's no toilet paper inside the stall and the floor under her feet is spotlessly clean. It's almost like the scene has been staged. And most importantly, she has marks on her ankles from handcuffs. That's what gives her away. At 3 a.m., security cameras caught a person disguised as a patient walking out of a private clinic. There are 3 suspects: a man in a robe and sneakers, an elderly woman in pajamas and boots, and a woman with a head bandage wearing slippers. One of them is an escaped criminal. Can you figure out which one it is? It's the woman with the head bandage. Her bandage is clean and freshly wrapped, which probably means she put it on herself. Plus, who walks on asphalt in slippers unless they're trying to look like a patient? The morning surveillance footage shows 3 people entering the antique hall: a girl in a long green coat, a man wearing a t-shirt labeled security, and a guy with a camera. 1 minute later, the alarm goes off. Someone has stolen an ancient vase. Who is the thief? It's the guy with the camera. He's carrying a large camera bag too, which means the vase could easily be hidden inside. Besides, who else carries a camera like that in a museum? Someone tried to sabotage a restaurant's rating and replaced a regular dish with a spoiled one. The owner reviewed the security footage and saw that 3 people had entered the kitchen. They were a bartender wearing an apron, a chef with a tall white hat, and a waiter carrying a tray. One of them didn't even work at the restaurant. Can you spot the imposter? It's the bartender. His apron doesn't have the restaurant's logo, which means he brought it from somewhere else. He must be a rival, trying to ruin the restaurant's reputation and bring down its rating. At a scenic viewpoint, 3 people are standing: a girl with a map, a guy with a camera, and a man in a suit and dress shoes. Which of them is suspicious? The answer is quite obvious. The man in the suit looks suspicious. No real tourist hikes up hills in shiny leather shoes. He's clearly there for another reason. Ooh, suspicious. At a party in an elite gallery, famous actor James Bean suddenly felt unwell. Security footage shows 3 guests offering him drinks. The question is, who slipped him the poison? It's the woman in red. She's the only one holding the glass with her left hand, which means she could have secretly slipped poison from a locket ring on her right. Otherwise, why would she wear such a large ring on her pinky? Cheryl was reading a book, but she was careless and accidentally tore out pages 7, 8, 100, 101, 333, and 334. How many pages will she have to fix? Just 4. 7 and 8, as well as 33 and 34, are just different sides of one page. Sarah was invited to a party organized by her friend Sean. Sarah was worried there might be a thief at this party. Throughout the event, she was watching the guests attentively. At the end of the party, she realized who the thief was. Have you figured it out too? It's the host, Sean. At the beginning of the party, one of his guests had a watch on his wrist, and this woman had a beautiful necklace. But at the end of the party, the watch is already on Sean's wrist. And the necklace is in that flower pot. See? Airport security guards are checking the luggage of 3 suspicious passengers. One of them is a robber on the run. Can you help the guards figure out which passenger is a criminal? The clown costume looks pretty innocent. It doesn't have a mask that covered the face, so it's unlikely that the person owning this suitcase is a robber. The lady shows her cash freely and openly, which probably means the money is legal. But this lady with an empty suitcase is pretty suspicious. Her suitcase probably has a double bottom, and she must be hiding something inside. Otherwise, why would she travel with an empty bag? You're checking in at a hotel, and the receptionist gives you a note. There are just 3 letters there, FBD. Can you figure out what your room number is? It's room 624. F is the 6th letter of the alphabet, B is the 2nd, and D is the 4th. While walking on a beach, Patricia found a watch in the sand. There were only 3 other people around. Look at them carefully and try to figure out who the watch belongs to. This guy's watch is in his jeans pocket. The strap is peeking out. The tan line on this girl's wrist doesn't match the shape of the watch. It means the watch belongs to this elderly man. You need to get out of a creepy house. There are lots of doors in front of you. They're numbered from 1 to 22. To choose the right door, you need to figure out the next number in this sequence. Can you do it? The right answer is 20. All these numbers are the only ones that don't have any other vowels but E. So you should open the door with the number 20 written on it. Brandon was patrolling the streets. While driving past his friend's house, he saw the front door open. Inside, he found his friend on the floor. After he was taken to a hospital, the officer went to question the neighbors. Julie said that she had been planting trees in her garden since early morning. Nathan explained that he had some problems with his car and had been in the garage all day long. And Patrick said that he had been watching a new episode of his favorite TV show. Which neighbor is lying? Nathan is. His hands and gloves are spotless. That wouldn't be possible if he had indeed been repairing his car. Someone stole a bag from an elderly lady walking in the park. The police have 3 suspects. John claims it isn't him because he's been busy jumping on a trampoline. Laura says she's been drinking fresh juice at the cafe. And Patrick says he's been selling ice cream. Can you understand who the thief is? It's John. His alibi is fake. The guy wouldn't have been allowed to get on the trampoline because of the age limit. See that note? Jonathan's friend went to explore a mysterious castle and got lost, so the man decided to sneak in and find him. He ended up in a large room with 3 doors. One of these doors led to a labyrinth. Another door was the exit, but if Jonathan went through it, he'd have to cross 3 moats to get out. And behind one of the doors was Jonathan's friend. Can you figure out which door Jonathan needs? The door handles are made of some shiny metal, and the only door with fingerprints is the one on the left. That's where Jonathan's friend is. A man was discovered unconscious at his desk, alone in the locked office. He was rushed to a hospital, and the police started investigating this case. The only clue was a sealed envelope on the man's desk. Have you figured out what happened? The envelope glue was poisoned, and when the man licked the envelope to seal it, he got sick.
One of these people on the train is hiding some treasure. Who can it be? It's this woman. She pretends to be pregnant, but her belly is suspiciously square. Look at these two girls. Who will be the first to escape? The one on the right. She hasn't touched her food because she uses her spoon to dig a tunnel. The girl on the right has managed to escape, but the tunnel splits into two smaller ones. One is swarming with snakes, and in the other, a fire is raging. What should she do? She should dig another tunnel above these two. She's got her spoon after all. David was a famous antique dealer in his town, but there were loads of people who envied him. The man had a beautiful young daughter called Liza. One evening, when the antiquarian was busy in his workshop, his phone rang. A man told him that they had David's daughter. If he wanted to see her again, he had to give his jewelry collection to the man waiting at the doors. David requested to talk to his daughter. He asked her just one question. "I have two hands, but I can't scratch myself. What am I?" When David heard no answer, he said, "It's not my daughter," and hung up. What's the answer to this riddle? Liza would know that her father was talking about a clock. It took 9 years to build the world's tallest skyscraper. Every next year, the builders managed to double its height. How many years did it take the skyscraper to reach half of its maximum height? Eight years. If the constructors doubled the building's height every year, the skyscraper was half of its final height a year before it was completed. Divide 30 by 1/2 and add 10. What will you get? The correct answer is 70. Most people divide 30 by 2, add 10, and get 25. But when you divide a number by a fraction, you should actually multiply it by the denominator, which is the number below the line. This way, 30 times 2 plus 10 equals 70. You find yourself in the middle of a forest with 3 paths in front of you. The first one is covered with burning hot coals. The second path is so cold that it feels like Antarctica right under your feet. And the third path is covered with sharp nails. Which path should you choose? The second path. All that ice is bound to be gone soon. It's too close to the hot coals. The police were looking for Kyle for 2 days. The guy went hiking and never came back. Finally, he was found. Someone had hit him on the head and left him lying in the bushes. Kyle only managed to say, "Friend," and lost consciousness. The police officers had 3 suspects, all of them Kyle's friends. Zachary said he'd spent these last days at work getting ready for a conference. Jeremy told the detectives he sprained his ankle and had been in bed for 4 days. And Billy explained he'd been to New York for business. He even showed the police officers his boarding pass. Who's responsible for the accident with Kyle? Billy showed the police just 1 boarding pass. Then how did he get back from New York? His story sounds fishy. Jordan was very late for a job interview, but when he drove up to the office building, he found out there were no free parking spaces. He decided to leave his car a bit further from the entrance. Oh no, even though there were several other vehicles in that area, parking was prohibited there. Luckily, Jordan came up with an idea and didn't get fined. What did he do? He took a parking ticket from another car and put it on his windshield. It looked as if he'd already been fined. Hey, I didn't say it was an honest solution. That day, famous chef Logan was going to have some very important guests in his restaurant. He was anxious because his future depended on how they would appreciate his food. Everything had to be perfect. There was only 1 hour left before the guests were supposed to arrive. And that's when Logan discovered someone had left ugly red handprints on his sparkling white jacket. He examined the stains. It was ketchup. Logan knew that some of the cooks didn't like him. Look at them and try to help the chef figure out who's guilty. There's a pair of gloves stained with something red in the trash can. The only person who isn't wearing any gloves is the cook on the left. He was the one to spoil Logan's uniform. Linda was in a cafe with her boyfriend, and their date wasn't going very well. At one point, they both got angry and started to argue. Suddenly, their waiter came up to the table and handed something to Linda. It was a note with a strangely written word. Lowercase t, uppercase r, lowercase o, uppercase u, lowercase b, lowercase l, lowercase e. Trouble? Linda was confused. What could it mean? Can you figure it out? It's a rebus puzzle. The waiter got worried and asked Linda, "Are you in trouble?" Hey, ready for some Valentine's Day riddles? Look at these three guys. Which of them is going on a date tonight?
Hello.
It must be this one. He has a little wrapped present, probably for his date.
Aww.
Now let's peek inside a restaurant. Which of the three girls is on a date? It's this one. Look, there are roses and 2 sets of dishes on the table. So she's not alone, and it's something romantic. My money is on her. This is Allison, and one of these 3 young men is her boyfriend. Can you tell who? It's this one. Look, they have matching tattoos. Take a look at these 2 proposals. Which one of them is fake? This one. Look, the guy has a ring. He's clearly already married. It was Friday evening, and Mark was waiting for his girlfriend to get back from work. He prepared dinner and was about to propose. His girlfriend came back home with flowers. Do you think she was on a date with someone? No, she wasn't. Look outside. The same flowers grow in their garden. She just picked some before entering the house. On Valentine's Day, Annika found a love note on her desk. Unfortunately, the note wasn't signed, but she had 3 suspects. So she asked each of them if they had written her a note. Dylan said, "I was busy finishing my math homework before class." Connor said, "I was hanging out with my buddies outside." And Luke said, "I was in the bathroom and I just returned." Who wrote Annika the letter? It was Luke. Look, his hands are covered in red ink. That's the color used in the letter. Also, if he had really been to the bathroom, his hands would be clean. On Valentine's Day, Jess found a note in her locker. But the note was weird. It was just a sequence of random letters. Or was it some code? Can you help Jess read the note and figure out who sent it to her? Of course it's a code. Look, there are 5 groups of letters with 5 letters in each group. Let's put them into a 5 by 5 table. And now, we need to read this vertically, column by column. Will you go out with me, Colton? So where's that Colton? Michelle was hosting a Valentine's Day party. She invited all her school friends, and everyone was allowed to bring a +1. Either their significant other or a single friend. In the middle of the party, she noticed that her cousin was in the garden talking to some girl, but it was dark and she couldn't tell which girl it was. She just saw that the girl had long hair. When her cousin returned, she knew immediately who he was interested in. Here are 3 girls with long hair. Who was outside with Michelle's cousin? Look, Michelle's cousin has a lipstick stain. The girl must have left it, and this girl right here is wearing lipstick of the same shade. On a cold, rainy night, Damon was driving past a bus stop. There were 3 people there waiting for their bus. An elderly lady who looked sick, a doctor who had saved many lives, and Addison, a girl Damon had a crush on for years. Unfortunately, there was only room for one more person in his car. What should Damon do? He should give his car to the doctor, who would then take the lady to the hospital. And Damon can stay at the bus stop waiting for the bus with the girl of his dreams. Looking like a hero in her eyes.
Yeah.
Let's take a little break now. Have you seen any romantic movies? Well, I hope so, because I'll be showing you some emojis, and your task will be to guess what romantic movie they stand for. Okay, here's the first very easy one. Of course, that's Titanic. Here's the next one. Nothing much, but it should be clear. Do you know this movie? It's The Notebook. What about this one? A relatively recent remake was a great success. Can you recognize it? It's A Star Is Born. Here's the next one. Do you think you can guess it right? It's Before Sunrise. The next set of emojis illustrates another very well-known love story. Can you guess it right? It's La La Land, of course. Here's the last one. It's an oldie but a goodie. What do you think? Everyone's favorite, The Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind with Kate Winslet and Jim Carrey. It was Valentine's Day, and Nicole wanted to put a little present in the locker of the student she had a crush on. Unfortunately, she didn't know the code. Luckily for her, the owner of the locker was forgetful too, so there was a note with a hint. Can you figure out the combination? Each number is the number of lines in the respective letter. There is just 1 line in I, 4 lines in M, 3 in H, and 2 in T. So, following the same logic, there are 4 lines in E, 2 in L, 2 in V, and 3 in Z. So the combination is 4, 2, 2, 3. Okay, here's another code for you to crack. This time, you need to help Eric. He wants to get his wife a nice Valentine's Day gift, but he is absolutely clueless about what she wants. So, the plan is to break into her computer, check her shopping cart, and get something from there. The problem is that the computer requires a passcode, and the man doesn't know it. Luckily, there's a note on the desk, so he types in 6198. But the passcode is wrong. Can you figure out what the correct passcode is? The note is just turned upside down. Eric should try typing in 8619 instead. Kennedy works in the emergency room. It's Valentine's Day and there's a patient who felt unwell during a college party. Kennedy leaves the room because she needs to talk to the patient's girlfriend. She was at the party with him. Which young woman should she approach? Who is the guy's date? Keep in mind that the couple was at a party, so they must be dressed nicely. The patient's date is most likely this woman in a pretty dress. Now, let's do some exercises to train your eyes. Here's a bunch of hearts. Can you find one broken heart? Yes, here it is. Good job. The task is similar, but not quite. Now there are many hearts and a few broken hearts. How many broken hearts are there? There are 5 broken hearts here. Have you found them all? Kelsey came to an antique store to get some presents for her boyfriend for Valentine's Day. She needed a baseball cap for him, an antique pocket watch, and a toy car from the 1920s. Can you help her find all these items for her boyfriend? Here's the cap, here's the watch, and here's the car. Have you spotted them all? Mark, the boyfriend, is getting presents for Kelsey in the same antique store. He needs to find a pretty cup, an antique mirror, and a beautiful photo album. He needs some help too, so keep your eyes wide open. Do you see all these items? Here they all are. 1, 2, and 3. Great job! It's a Valentine's Day party, and Melody, the most popular girl in school, is hosting it. 4 best friends are standing together, and one of them is Melody's boyfriend.
Oh, yeah.
You ask them who the boyfriend is, and here's what they say. The first guy says, "The fourth one is the boyfriend." The second guy says, "It's me." The third one claims, "No, it's the first guy." And the fourth one says, "No, it's actually me." If only the boyfriend tells the truth and the other guys lie, who is Melody's boyfriend? Only the boyfriend tells the truth, so he will say, "I'm the boyfriend." So it's either the second guy or the fourth one. But if the boyfriend is the fourth guy, then the first one is telling the truth too. So, Melody's boyfriend is the second guy.
Now, Anna had just graduated from college and was in the process of searching for a job. She was going to apply to a few companies, and she wanted her CV to be perfect to increase her chances. So she checked it once again before sending it. There were 3 mistakes in her CV, including typos. Can you help the girl spot them? Take a look at the year when she graduated from college. In her CV it says 2922, but that's not possible. So she must have typed 9 instead of 0 here. Now look at the education section. She wrote university instead of university. That's the second typo. And the last typo is in the skills section. That's right, the word skills itself is misspelled. A week later, Anna was invited to stage 2 of the application process in 3 different companies. The first one was a packaged food company called Packed Inc. The second one was a tech company called Data Corp, and the third one was a media company called Watch TV. But only one of them is Anna's dream job. Can you tell which of these companies it is? Take a look around her room. You'll notice that there's some merchandise from Data Corp. Anna has their sticker on her laptop, and there's a Data Corp mug on her table. But most importantly, do you see that Post-it note on her mirror that says goals? Her number one goal is to get a job at Data Corp. If the first two hints didn't convince you, this certainly will do. The talent recruiter of Data Corp soon called Anna. She said the girl would pass stage 2 of the application process if she guessed her name correctly. But of course, I will give you a hint, she said. My name is 2 of 7 Chicago, 2 of 6 London, and 1 of 9 Edinburgh.
What?
Can you tell what the talent recruiter's name is? Two of 7 of the word Chicago gives you the letters C and H. 2 of 6 of the word London are the letters L and O. 1 of 9 of the word Edinburgh gives you the letter E. So, her name is Chloe. Chloe informed Anna that she had passed stage 2 and the company was inviting her to San Francisco for a face-to-face interview. That was stage 3 of the application process.
Oh my god.
The recruiter also said that the company was going to cover all of her expenses if she answered this next riddle correctly. There is a house. One enters it blind, one leaves it seeing. What is it? Do you know the answer? It's a school, and Anna answered correctly. On the day of the interview, Anna arrived at the airport too early. She was hungry, so she decided to eat something. There were only 3 restaurants open at the airport. The first one served only different kinds of salads. The second one sold various types of pizza and pasta. And the third place was a seafood restaurant. Which restaurant should she choose? Take a look at their displays. There are ants inside one of the salad bowls that are on display in the first restaurant. Pass. A few of the fish in the third restaurant's display look rotten. It's probably not a good idea to eat there. So, she should choose the pizza and pasta restaurant. Anna entered the place and ordered meatballs and spaghetti. As she was waiting, 3 friends who were eating at another table caught her eye. They all looked like very rich people. But Anna could tell that only one of them was so rich that she could literally buy anything she wanted. Can you tell how Anna figured that out? First, take a look at the menu board on the wall. All the prices are listed there. And now, look at what each girl is eating. The first one is munching on Neapolitan pizza. The price for this dish is listed as $25. The second girl is eating pineapple pizza, which costs $39.99. The third girl, though, is trying Pizza Royale, which is made with 24-karat gold topping. Look it up, it's a real thing. And its price is $4,000. That's a lot, even for an airport restaurant. So the third girl must be the richest one. It was time to board the plane. The company spared no expense to get Anna to San Francisco with comfort. So she was going to fly business class. As one of the flight attendants showed her to her seat, she told Anna that she was very lucky to be on this flight because there was a very famous actor on board, and he was sitting next to her.
Oh my god.
Can you tell which of these people is the actor? See that guy holding his cell phone? Take a closer look at the screen. He's on his social media sharing a selfie he took with that guy, who must be the famous actor. And now put that cell phone on airplane mode. Time to go. After the plane landed in San Francisco, Anna headed directly to the Data Corp's headquarters for her interview. She told the security guard that Chloe was expecting her for a job interview.
Hello.
After checking the guest list to confirm her words, the security guard gave her a name tag. "Here, take this. All guests have to wear it," he said. Then he gave her a card. "You need to go to the 7th floor to meet her. This card has the passcode to call the elevator. Good luck with everything." Just as Anna was going to thank him, he interrupted her and continued talking. "And keep this in mind, the elevator will help you ascend in an orderly way." Anna thought, "Okay, weird. What can that even mean?" Then she walked up to the elevator. There were no down or up buttons, just a passcode panel. Then she looked at the card the security guard had given her and saw a picture of a funny face. There were 3 numbers hidden in that image, and they were the numbers she needed to press on the panel. Can you see them? There's a 7 here, a 3 is here, and here's number 1.
Okay.
But in what order should she press them? Can you help her? Remember the weird thing the security guard said? He actually gave Anna a hint. The elevator will help you ascend in an orderly way. Ascend, order. So, she needs to enter the numbers in ascending order from the lowest to the highest. It means that the passcode is 137. Ah, here comes the elevator. Anna pressed the button for the 7th floor, but the elevator stopped on the 2nd floor. 3 people were going to get in. Anna was excited to see some Data Corp employees, but one of them didn't actually work there. Can you tell who? Remember what the security guard said about all guests having to wear name tags? This lady has one too, so she is a guest and isn't working there. Anna got off at the 7th floor and was greeted by Chloe. The woman directed her toward the manager's office. Anna walked in. "Hello, Anna, I'm Edith," the manager said. "I'm the one who's going to interview you since you are applying for the manager's assistant position. I saw your CV and I was impressed. You've been solving all the riddles correctly, too. I have one last riddle for you, and if you crack it, we'll hire you.
Oh my god.
I'm a bean, but I'm not magic. I can be roasted, but I'm not a turkey. I can be ground, but I'm not pepper. I can be pressed, but I'm not a button. What am I? Quick, help Anna get this job." The answer is coffee. And you're going to be bringing me a lot of it. Welcome to Data Corp, Anna, Edith said. Wow, that's one weird job interview.
Look at this image. What is wrong here? Fire trucks are usually red, not green. Great job! Now, how about this picture? There are no butterflies in the winter. And one more image for you. Look at these people. Do you notice anything strange? These guys seem to be playing tennis, but they are using a tiny football. 2 people were born at the same moment, but they don't celebrate their birthdays on the same day. How is it possible? They were born in different time zones, and in one of these zones, it was already the next day. Captain Jack was an infamous and feared pirate who had robbed thousands of ships with the help of a small trick. It allowed him to approach any ship from any country easily and get close enough to grapple it without any problems. What was this trick? Captain Jack had a collection of flags from different countries. Instead of using Jolly Roger, fearsome black flag, he raised the flag of the country the nearing ship was from, and it got him immediate access. A man was in a 9-story building when a fire started. He jumped out of the window and he didn't get any injuries. How is it possible? The man was on the first floor when he jumped out of the window. Look at these people. One of them is from the future. Can you figure out who it is? Be very attentive. Right, it's this guy. He's got a smartphone in his pocket. Now this looks like a regular picnic in the park, but one of these people is a time traveler. Who is it? It's the guy with the USB port in his arm. At this party, there is a person who came from a different epoch. Your task is to find them. It's this person wearing a chainmail armor. Poor thing, he must be sweating under all this metal. Mark got locked in a basement. There were no windows, only a door with a letter combination lock. What could probably give him some hint was a note he found in the corner. What is the code word? Mark managed to get out of the basement. The code word was SMART. The key to this riddle was hidden in the alphabet. P plus 3 letters is S, N minus 1 letter is M, and so on. Lisa woke up in the morning and found out that quite a large sum of money was missing from her purse. Her husband was on a business trip, so the person who had taken the money could only be one of her 3 kids. Her daughter Karen, who was 17, her 15-year-old son Christopher, or her 20-year-old son David. Lisa asked her children what they had been doing the previous evening. Karen said that she had gone to bed right after dinner because she had had a headache. Christopher said that he had gone to a nightclub with his best friend Rick. And David answered that he had had his football practice. Lisa immediately knew who had taken the money. What about you? Christopher is lying. He is only 15, so he couldn't get into the club. Melanie invited her colleague Maria for dinner. Maria was surprised. She thought Melanie didn't like her, but the hostess prepared a very nice meal. She even cooked tuna for both of them. She cut the fish in half and each of them ate their portions. Sometime later, Maria paled and lost consciousness. She was taken to a hospital. It was bad food poisoning. Several days later, police arrested Melanie for trying to poison Maria. But how did she do it? The women ate the same dishes. The poison was on one side of the knife Melanie used to cut the fish. This way, only the piece of tuna she gave Maria was poisoned. 5 costs $25 and 25 $50. If you buy 255, you'll pay $75. What is it that you buy, and how much does one item cost? You're buying door numbers, and one digit costs $25. You are sailing around the world on your yacht when you get caught in a terrible storm. At one point, you hit your head against the mast and lose consciousness. When you come round, you find yourself on a beach, surrounded by unfriendly-looking locals. It turns out that they dislike foreigners. They offer you 3 options. They can send you to a cave filled with tarantulas. They can throw you into a pit filled with yellow scorpions. Or you can meet several hungry lions. What option should you choose to survive? opt for tarantulas. They are mostly harmless to people. Michelle received a message from the building security that a dangerous criminal had sneaked into the office where she worked. She needed to get out of there as soon as possible. She was running towards the elevators when both of them simultaneously opened their doors. Inside, there were suspicious-looking guys. Which elevator should Michelle opt for? Michelle should run to the second elevator. The criminal has just entered the building. He can't be coming from upstairs. You've been driving for hours, but there's still no sign of civilization. Eventually, you have to admit that you've got lost. You are tired, thirsty, hungry, and have no money to buy anything. Suddenly, on the side of the road, you see 4 doors. Behind the first door, there is plenty of drinking water. The second door hides a lot of tasty food. Behind the third door, there is a cozy hotel room with a comfortable bed. And if you open the fourth door, you'll see piles of cash. Which door will you choose to open first? The first door you should open is the door of your car. In the morning, Paul went out of his house and saw something strange in his garden. There were several pieces of coal, a carrot, and a scarf lying there. There was a fence around Paul's property, so nobody could put those objects there. How did they turn up in the middle of the lawn? It was warm at night, and a snow person that had been standing there melted. Detective Lucas Brown was invited to Long Road College, as more and more thefts occurred there. In a week's time, the man had 3 suspects. "What were you doing when the last theft happened?" he asked each of them. Thomas said, "I was away on that day. I had to drive my younger sister to her music lesson." Amanda replied, "I spent that day in the library, getting ready for my presentation." Ryan said, "I'm going to Denmark with my parents this summer. That's why I spend all my free time learning Dutch." Lucas immediately understood who was lying. Can you figure it out? It was Ryan. They speak Danish in Denmark. Dutch is the official language of Netherlands. 4 prisoners took up art classes. They studied every Monday. Guards escorted them to the art room and searched the prisoners at the end of every lesson. All the prisoners had their own art supplies, which they kept inside their cells. The question is, which of them has more chances to escape? Your time is over, and the answer is this prisoner. He can use his supplies to paint his clothes green. This way he'll look like a guard and will be able to sneak out of jail. Criminals kidnapped 3 bank workers to get secret financial information from them. The bankers were locked in a basement with only one window high above the floor. The men decided that at least one of them had to escape and warn the police. The men stood on each other's shoulders, but the one on top still couldn't reach the window. What can they do to escape? The tallest of them should climb on top. And since this man also has longer arms, he will manage to reach the window.
Uh-oh. Tommy was exploring old caves outside the city when he got trapped in a mysterious dungeon. There were 3 ways out, but only one of them was safe. Behind the first door, a fire was raging. Behind the second door, there was acid rain, which could melt any substance within seconds. Behind the third door, there was a huge brown bear that hadn't eaten for 2 years. Which way should Tommy choose? Tommy should choose the third way. No animal can go for 2 years without food and survive. Barely. It was a stormy day, and it had been raining for several hours straight. A car accident happened in a tunnel. The yellow car crashed into the red one. The driver of the yellow car said it had been raining so heavily he hadn't seen anything, so the accident wasn't totally his fault. But the police asked the man to stop lying and claimed it was all his fault. Why? The accident happened in the tunnel. It couldn't be raining there. Mrs. McAdams, who was having a day off with her friends, came back home in the middle of the day to change her clothes. There, she found out that her daughter, Eveline, who she'd grounded, wasn't at home. Mrs. McAdams got angry and texted Eveline, asking where she was. Eveline texted her back, saying she was at school. The girl even attached a picture of the classroom. Mrs. McAdams didn't believe her daughter and told her to come home immediately. How did she understand Eveline wasn't at school? Look closely at her cell phone. It's Sunday. There's no school on Sundays. Ned works in a club. His job is to check people's ID cards and to not let suspicious people or people younger than 21 years old get inside. Take a look at these 3 ID cards and figure out who shouldn't enter the club. The first person is already 21, and nothing else looks suspicious in his ID. The second girl seems alright too. It's written that Brielle was born on September 31st. But such date doesn't exist. Her ID must be fake. Mrs. Cabell is the owner of a small company producing expensive designer cups. On Friday, when the working week was finally over, she got a call from her bank. The woman found out that someone had stolen all the money she had saved. Mrs. Cabell realized it must have been one of her workers, so she asked each of them what they had been doing that day. Sloan, a sales manager, said she had been talking to their clients and looking for new ones. Atticus, a potter, said he always made 1 cup a day, and he showed all the cups he had done that week. Sierra, a designer, said she had been working, but she also admitted she hadn't been really productive that day because of some family issues. Who lied? Atticus. There are 5 working days in a regular week. The man said he made 1 mug a day, but he only showed 4 mugs. It means he missed 1 day of work. Lennox and Finn were friends living in the same college dorm. One day, Lennox reported that something had happened to his friend. He said Finn hadn't left his room all day. He also never responded to any of Lennox's texts. In the evening, Lennox started to worry and knocked on Finn's door, but the guy didn't answer. Lennox peeked through the keyhole and saw that his friend was lying on the floor, so he called the police. After that, Lennox got arrested. Why? Lennox has a bandage on his right eye, but the keyhole is located in such a way that it's only possible to look inside with the right eye. It means the guy couldn't do it. He simply knew what had happened. Esme was having a walk in the forest and got lost. For about the 20th time. Hey, don't ask. Anyway, she found the witch's house, walked in, said hi, petted the cat, and asked the witch to show her the way home. But the witch had a problem. She was learning a new spell and accidentally did something strange to her chairs. On the bright side, she now had a riddle for Esme to solve. The witch had 20 chairs. Now, some of the chairs only had 2 legs, and half of the rest had no legs at all. How many legs did all these 20 chairs have in total? We know that some of the chairs have, on average, 2 legs per chair. The rest of them have either 4 legs or no legs at all. And since half of the rest have no legs and the other half have 4, together they have 2 legs per chair. So there are exactly 40 legs. Mr. Tucker was a businessman. He wanted to find an interesting hobby to impress people. He chose art, even though he knew nothing about it. Still, he kept buying paintings and even owned a couple of famous masterpieces. He liked to invite his potential business partners over to show off his collection. One day, his guest was Miss Geneva Darby, a young lady who owned a jewelry business. As always, Mr. Tucker boasted about his collection, but Miss Darby wasn't impressed. Why? Look closer at this supposedly 16th century painting. There are a couple of cars on the road, but there were no cars at that time, so the painting must be fake. Evie and Kai were planning to go on a bike tour with their friends. Unfortunately, Evie didn't feel well, so she canceled on her friends and asked Kai to stay with her. Kai was disappointed but agreed. Evie fell asleep. When she woke up, she already felt better. She offered Kai to ride their bikes a bit, just the two of them. But when they went outside, Evie realized that while she had been sleeping, Kai had been out with the friends without her. How did she understand it? Look, Evie's bike is all wet. It must have been raining while she was asleep. But Kai's bike is dry. It means that he used it and then wiped it off. Or maybe he wasn't even in the area when it was raining. 2 weeks ago, a bank was robbed, but the robber hadn't been found yet. A phone call woke Detective Callum up in the middle of the night. His colleague reported that a farmer had found the money. When the detective arrived, he questioned the farmer. The man said, "I argued with my wife and went outside. That's when I found a bag with money in a cornfield." Detective Callum asked if the farmer had noticed anything suspicious before. The farmer replied, "About 2 weeks ago, before going to bed, I looked out of the window. I saw a man walking through the field. It was a full moon and I could clearly see his silhouette. But there wasn't enough light to notice more details about him." The farmer was arrested. Why? The farmer said it had been a full moon 2 weeks before. But it's impossible. As you see, it's a full moon now. The farmer is lying. But why? Ashley was hurrying to an unplanned business meeting. She asked her boyfriend, Dean, to walk the dog. Dean agreed. But then his friend called and invited him to play a new video game. So the guy decided to skip walking the dog that day and joined his friends. He and Ashley met right outside the house when they both were going back home. Ashley asked what Dean had been doing. The guy said, "I walked the dog and then went to play video games with my friends." Ashley immediately understood he was lying. How did she figure it out? It's winter. Look at the footprints in the snow. There are Ashley's footprints going both ways and Dean's footprints going both ways too. But there are no dog footprints. Mrs. Rivers reported that someone had broken into her house. They stole all the money and jewelry she kept in her living room. Detective Callum arrived to investigate the crime. The room was a mess. It was obvious that someone had been looking for something there. But in the end, the detective concluded that there was no robbery. Mrs. Rivers made the whole thing up. Why did he decide so? Look at this very expensive and fragile tea set lying on the floor. If a criminal had really been there, he wouldn't have cared about the set. It would be smashed after falling down. It seems that when Mrs. Rivers was staging a robbery, she didn't feel like breaking her expensive tea set. Viviana and Malcolm were working outside. Malcolm was repairing the roof, and Viviana was working in the garden. Suddenly, a hammer fell from the roof and hit Viviana on the head. She was taken to a hospital, and the police came to figure out what had happened. When Malcolm told them everything, the police arrested him for staging an accident. Why didn't they believe the guy? Viviana was working right next to the house. She was sitting under the roof. If the hammer had fallen accidentally, it would have slid down the roof and fallen behind the woman's back. It could hit her only if someone threw it at her on purpose. Well, that's not nice.
Amy's elder sister Vicky gave her this shopping list and asked her to get some groceries. Amy took the list without even looking at it, but when she arrived at the supermarket, she realized that her sister had pranked her. Vicky has encoded the names of the products she needed. Can you help Amy figure out what she's supposed to buy? Here's the first product. It's blueberry. What about this one? Watermelon. Can you recognize this food? That's right, it's kiwi. Here's the next rebus. Can you crack this code? Grape. What about this one? Pineapple. Great job. Next riddle. Any ideas? Vicky needs some bananas. And how about this food? That's right. Amy should buy some oranges. And here's the final product. Can you figure out what it is? Lemon. Amy took everything she needed and headed to the cashier. He said,
"I'll give you a 90% discount if you manage to solve my riddle."
Amy agreed. Here's the riddle.
If you had 3 apples and 4 oranges in one hand, and 4 apples and 3 oranges in the other hand, what would you have?
Can you help Amy crack this riddle to save some money? Try to think outside the box. Obviously, you must have very large hands to hold all this. Amy left the supermarket and headed home, but suddenly she realized that she'd left her wallet at the checkout. She ran back to the supermarket, but the wallet was nowhere to be found. Amy questioned 3 people standing nearby. Bob, the cashier, said, "Sorry, I didn't see your wallet. I had the other customers." One of the customers, Kim, said, "I think I saw the cleaner take your wallet from the checkout after you'd left." And the cleaner, Nancy, said, "Who do you think I am? I need this job to support my family." Who stole the wallet? It was Kim. She's holding her own wallet in her hand. But there's also Amy's wallet hidden in her boot. Amy didn't want to waste her time, so she told Kim, "I won't call the police if you give me back my wallet and crack my riddle." Kim agreed. Here's the riddle. Can you name 4 days which start with the letter T? It was Kim's lucky day because she managed to solve this riddle. What was her reply? Tuesday, Thursday, today, and tomorrow. Amy, Vicky, and their boyfriends Josh and Greg went hiking and got lost. They wandered around the forest for a few hours and found this sign. There were 3 paths through the forest. The first one would take them to a toxic swamp. No one has ever returned from that swamp alive. hungry tigers were blocking the second road, and to use the third path, the guys had to cross an ice-cold mountain river. Which way is the safest? The third one. See this sign? It says the river is only 20 inches deep. They can easily cross it. It got dark very fast. While the friends were still trying to find a way to cross the river, their phones had run out of battery, and they only had one torch. The river is too risky to cross without any lighting. If all 4 people started crossing the river at the same time, the torchlight wouldn't be enough. Plus, each person would be crossing the river at a different speed. Amy would need only 1 minute. Vicky would do it in 2 minutes. Josh would need 7 minutes, and Greg, 10 minutes. What's the shortest time needed for all friends to cross the river? Usually, people jump to the conclusion that the fastest person should guide everyone. In this case, Amy would have to accompany Greg. It'd take 10 minutes. Then she would need 1 minute to come back. She'd guide Josh across the river. It'd take 7 minutes. Then Amy would spend 1 minute to return for Vicky and make the final 2-minute walk across the river. In this case, the entire process would take 21 minutes. But our task is to minimize the time. That's why we should find a way for the slowest people to walk together. So here's the correct order. Amy and Vicky cross the river, which takes them 2 minutes. Then Vicky comes back. That's another 2 minutes. Greg and Josh take the torch from Vicky and go across the river. It takes them 10 minutes. Then Amy comes back with the torch, takes Vicky, and they cross the river together. That's 3 minutes. In this case, the total time will be 17 minutes. After crossing the river, the guys meet a woodsman. He promises to guide them out of the forest if they solved his riddle. What do an island and the letter T have in common? After the friends answered, the woodsman explained to them how to find the bus stop and disappeared. What did they say? The letter T and the island are both in the middle of the water. It took a while to find the bus station, and the guys got hungry. That's why they decided to buy some food. But only one of these vending machines is safe to use. Can you tell which one? Someone scribbled "cash eater" on this vending machine, so it's probably not working. Cockroaches are crawling all over the food inside this machine. The guys should use the second vending machine. When the bus arrived, the guys realized that they didn't have enough cash to buy the tickets, but the driver was very generous. He said, "I'm gonna give you a free ride if you crack my riddle. It's very simple. Why is 6 afraid of 7? Amy solved this riddle right away. What about you? Because when it was hungry, 7 ate 9. The guys took their seats on the bus. Can you find anything weird here? This elderly lady is transparent. She's a ghost. When Amy and Vicky returned home, they discovered that someone had robbed their house. The girls called the police. Detectives questioned 3 neighbors. Mary said, "Last week, my husband Rick and I were sunbathing in the Maldives. Rick got sunburned, and we had to go back home earlier. We've just come from the airport." Love said, "I think I saw a suspicious guy in a hoodie near your house a few hours ago." Joanna said, "My boyfriend and I celebrated our anniversary in a restaurant. We've just returned home." Who's lying? Mary. She said that Rick had gotten sunburned, but now he looks perfectly fine, and he doesn't look tanned either. Amy decided to get a new job to save some money for college. She sent her resume to the local bank and received an invitation for a job interview. The HR manager offered her a riddle to challenge her logical thinking. Imagine you have an unlimited number of coins in your wallet. What's the minimum number of coins you'll need to make sure that each of these coins will touch exactly 3 others? Can you help Amy get the job? The correct answer is 4. She should place 3 coins flat on the table so that they form a triangle and their edges touch each other. And then she can put the 4th coin in the middle on top of the rest. Amy got the job in the bank. After her first day at work was over, she went home. But on her way home, she realized she'd forgotten her phone in the bank. So she went back and took her phone. Suddenly, the girl heard some weird noise coming from the bank vault. She went there and saw these 3 men inside the room. She noticed that one of them was an imposter right away. What about you? Can you spot him? The 3rd guy doesn't belong here. Look, he's wearing a police badge. He must be working undercover. The robbers ran away and locked Amy and the police officers inside the vault. Now they have to solve this riddle to unlock the door. They have to find a way to connect these 9 stars by using just 4 lines, all without lifting their hand even once. Can you help them find the right way? Such a task requires creativity, and this shape meets all requirements. But maybe you came up with something better. Amy bought flowers for her sister's birthday. She was walking down the street holding the bouquet in her hands. Suddenly, a man in a mask ran up to her, grabbed the flowers, and ran to the nearest restaurant. Amy started crying. A patrol car stopped next to her. Amy told the police officer what had happened. They went to the restaurant together to find the criminal. There were 4 men with very similar bouquets. Can you tell who robbed Amy? This guy. Amy's bouquet was tied with purple ribbon. Vicky organized a birthday party. To avoid uninvited guests, she asked the security guard to set a special password, but her boyfriend Harry, who was most definitely not invited, developed a plan that could help him enter the party. He hid near the door and started to listen attentively. When the first guest arrived, the guard said 12. The guest answered with 6. Then the second guest arrived, and the guard said 6. The guest replied with 3. Harry thought he'd heard enough and walked up to the guard. The man said 8, and Harry replied with 4. After hearing this answer, the guard asked Harry to leave. Why? Because the password is not half the number. It's the number of letters in the word. He should have said 5 because the word 8 consists of 5 letters. Can you count the number of squares in this image? The correct answer is 40.
Once, a prison guard accidentally overheard very disturbing rumors. Someone was planning a prison break. The guard watched all the footage from the surveillance cameras and discovered that 2 women had been behaving suspiciously. One of them was a former bodybuilder, muscular, with short hair, and covered in tattoos. The other was quiet and reserved. She preferred to spend time on her own and sometimes cried in her cell. After watching the video several times, the guard figured out which woman was planning to escape. Can you do the same? It's the second prisoner. There's a file in her bun. She can use it to get through the metal bars. Mark comes up to the table. There are 3 apples, but only one of them is safe to eat. The other 2 are poisonous. Unfortunately, Mark can't skip breakfast. So, which apple should he eat? Look, this apple has a caterpillar in it. It means there's no poison in the fruit and it's safe to eat. These 3 women, Jessica, Mary, and Olivia, went shopping. 2 of them are pregnant and one is just trying to steal a watermelon. Can you tell which one is hiding a watermelon? It's Olivia. She's wearing heels. It's not the kind of shoes a pregnant woman would choose to wear. Nathan, a successful entrepreneur with a multi-million-dollar business, and his friend Jackson, a famous private detective, returned from a long-term trip abroad. They decided to stop by at Nathan's villa on the way to the city. When the men entered the house, though, they saw that everything more or less valuable had been taken away. The entire villa was a mess. "I've only been away for a month. What happened here?" exclaimed Nathan. Jackson took an apple from the dining room table and started to munch on it thoroughly. "The lock isn't broken. It means the person who took your stuff had the key." After a while, the detective asked Nathan to invite 3 people. Mia, Nathan's niece, told Jackson she hadn't visited her uncle's home. She had been having serious problems with her car for already 2 months. And the villa was too far away from the city to get there by public transport. Sarah, the maid, claimed that she had stopped by several weeks ago to bring some food and tidy up, but since then she hadn't been to the villa. Adam, the gardener, told the detective he had been on vacation and had just returned. He even offered to show his plane tickets to Jackson. The detective figured out immediately who was behind the mess. You have 8 seconds to figure it out. It was the maid. She said she brought food several weeks ago, but the apple Jackson grabbed from the table was perfectly fresh. Once, Ms. White heard someone crying. It was her little student, Abigail. The girl told the teacher her cookies had been disappearing from her locker. Someone had been taking them for already several weeks, but Abigail didn't know who. Ms. White decided to help the girl. They equipped the locker with a simple alarm that had to go off if someone who wasn't Abigail opened the door. They hid behind the corner and began waiting. In 10 minutes, they heard the alarm. When they reached the locker, it was already empty and there was no one nearby. But Ms. White noticed somebody disappear behind the art room door. She rushed inside, but everything looked normal. And still, the teacher needed no more than a minute to understand who had been eating Abigail's cookies. Look at the picture of the art room carefully. Can you find out the answer within 8 seconds? It's the girl on the left. Her painting's black and white, but there are only various shades of blue on her palette. And maybe the cookie crumbs are a giveaway too. I don't know. One perfume company hires new staff. They must swear an oath of loyalty to the company if they want to get a job. 10 people are saying the words of the corporate oath simultaneously, but some of them are cheating. Help the directors figure out who these people are. This guy keeps his fingers crossed, and the man on the left is standing with his legs crossed. They won't be loyal to the company, so the director doesn't hire them. 2 influential media moguls are having lunch at an expensive restaurant. They're discussing the merger of their companies. The transaction amount is several $billion. They're whispering since the terms of this deal are top secret, and they suspect that someone can hear them. And they're right. Some curious people are eavesdropping on the conversation between the 2 businessmen. Try to find them. The girl at the next table is reading a newspaper that is turned upside down. She's obviously trying to overhear what the billionaires are talking about. This guy over there is listening to music, but the headphone wire is not connected to anything. Another girl is sitting at the table in the corner with a cocktail, but instead of an umbrella, there's an antenna in her glass. She's recording the conversation. "Where are my employees?" a boss shouts. He's furious because 3 people haven't come to the office. He calls each of them to find out the reason. All 3 tell him they got ill. The boss doesn't believe them, so they have to arrive at the office. Mary is wearing a warm jacket, hat, and scarf. She sneezes, coughs, and looks sick. Lori is walking on crutches. Her leg is in a cast. Sometime later, Michael appears. He's got a hand injury, and now he can't type. The boss is sure that one of them is faking. Who is it? Mike's left arm is broken, but his phone is in his left pocket. He must have used his broken arm to put it there, which means he's pretending. Apparently, he just didn't want to come to work. Ice will melt if you heat it, but if you heat me, I'll become solid. What am I? I'm an egg. You buy this thing to eat, but you never eat it. What is it? It's a plate. Mia was going back home one evening. It was 11 p.m., and she had to cross a small dark park in front of her house. Suddenly, she heard footsteps behind. Someone grabbed her bag and ran away. The girl called the police, and they questioned 4 suspects. Jack said, "I was choosing an outfit for a party." Camilla was getting ready for her final exam at home. Andrew told the police he had been watching birds in the park. Nora was at her yoga class. After the interview, the police understood who was behind the robbery. Can you? It was Andrew. At 11 p.m., it's too dark to see birds. James left a folder with important documents on the table in his home office and went to a business meeting. When he returned, he found out that the documents had disappeared. James had 3 suspects. His brother said, "I've been swimming in the pool since you left. I haven't seen or heard anything." The cook replied, "Tomorrow we're having a party. I've been preparing the food." The security guard told James, "I've been outside all this time, checking the garden for mice." Who knows where the documents are? It's the security guard. His job description doesn't include pest control. An accident happened at a busy crossroads in a small town. A driver who caused the crash left in a hurry. Luckily, several witnesses managed to describe the car. A police officer headed to the suspect's house. There, he saw a car that looked exactly like the one from the description, but its owner claimed that he had spent all day at home. The police officer knew the suspect was lying in no time. How? He touched the car hood. It was still hot from the engine that had worked not so long ago. You're walking along a railroad track. Suddenly, you see a speedy train approaching you. Instead of getting off the track immediately, you run toward the train. Why do you risk your life this way? When you notice the train, you're on a bridge. You can't leave the track right away and have to run to the closest place where you can do it.
Tyler is on his way to visit his grandma. She lives on the opposite side of the village. It's her birthday, and he wants to give her the cakes that he has prepared. Unfortunately, There are 7 bridges that Tyler needs to cross to get to her house. And there's a mermaid under every bridge. The mermaids always require payment from those who cross their bridges. Before Tyler can cross the bridge, he has to give the mermaid half of all the cakes that he's carrying. But since the mermaids are kind, each of them will give 1 cake back to Tyler. How many cakes should Tyler take from home to make sure that Grandma receives exactly 2 cakes? Two. Tyler will have to give half of his cakes at each bridge, but he'll still get 1 cake back. If Tyler takes 2 cakes from home, he'll manage to stay with 2 cakes after every bridge. Will is going on a jungle trip for 1 day. He asked his wife to pack something to eat, something to drink, and something to help him stay warm. When Will opened his backpack, he found just one thing. Can you guess what it was? A coconut. Will can drink coconut water. He can also eat the coconut meat. And finally, Will can use the coconut peel instead of wood to warm himself up. Nina decided to play a quiz game. She kept asking the same question to everyone she met, and each time she got a different answer. Can you guess what the question was? The question that Nina asked was, what is the time? Take a look at this picture. Can you predict which tank will fill first? Tank 5. The connection between Tank 5 and Tank 2 is blocked, so the water will move into the 5th tank from the first one. But it won't go to Tank 2. Therefore, Tank 5 will fill up first. What about this complicated structure? Can you tell which of the tanks will fill first? Okay, here's the explanation. Tank C is pretty tricky because it's blocked on the right side. So, the water will move to Tank J. And now, it will move to the right and go through Tank L. At this point, it seems pretty obvious that Tank H will get filled first, but that's wrong. It's blocked as well. So, the correct answer is Tank F. There is a wide field of corn. A fox finds its way into the field and starts running. Can you find out to which point the fox can run into the field? The fox can only run to the middle of the field. After that midpoint, the fox will actually be running out of the field. Stacy is a weather forecaster. It's raining today at 11:57 a.m. Can you help her figure out the chances of sunny weather in 72 hours? The chances are 0. In 72 hours, it'll be nighttime. How is a fly different from a mosquito? A mosquito can fly, but a fly cannot mosquito. This is Rick, and these 3 ladies are Melanie, Meg, and Millie. Melanie loves strawberry ice cream. Meg loves blueberry ice cream. And Millie hates ice cream. Can you find Rick's wife among these women? It's Meg. She has a matching ring on her finger. Ice cream preferences don't really matter here. 1.5 guys eat 1.5 burgers in 1.5 hours. How many burgers can 9 guys eat in 3 hours? More hours mean more burgers, and more guys mean more burgers. The time was doubled to 3 hours, and the number of people rose 6 times. Therefore, the number of burgers will be 18. Take a look at this arrangement. It consists of 15 matchsticks. How can you remove exactly 6 matchsticks to make 10? Here's the easiest way. Frank is a grandfather. His grandson is about as old in days as his son is in weeks. The grandson is also as many months old as Frank is in years. The sum of their 3 ages is 140 years. How old is Frank? Can you guess? To solve this riddle, we need some calculations. Let's say the grandfather is A, the son is B, and the grandson is C. Since the total age is 140 years, we can make up the following equation. A plus B plus C equals 140. Also, the grandson is about as many days old as the son is in weeks, which can be expressed in this equation. 365C equals 52B. And finally, the grandson is as many months old as Frank is in years, so 12C equals A. Now we can put this information into one big equation and calculate the final result. 12C plus 365C divided by 52 plus C equals 140. 624C plus 365C plus 52C equals 7280. 1041C equals 7280, so C equals 6.99. Since the task said that the grandson was about as old in days as his father in weeks, we can round up that number to 7. Therefore, Frank is 84 years old, and his son is 49. If you multiply all the numbers on your phone, what number will you get? Zero. Remember that multiplying any number by 0 always results in 0. Jerry and Sarah went hiking to celebrate their anniversary, but only the wife returned from the vacation. She went to the local police office and said, "Jerry got lost in the woods while I was sleeping in our tent." The sheriff arrested her, saying, "I've talked to your travel agent. We suspect that you're involved in Jerry's disappearance." Sarah didn't inform anyone about the trip. Why did the agent and the sheriff decide that she was guilty? Sarah bought only a one-way ticket for her husband and a round-trip ticket for herself. It means that she was sure that she would be returning alone. Can you tell which of the following statements is true? One statement here is false. 2 statements here are false. 3 statements here are false. The second statement is true. 13 caves are arranged in a circle in an enchanted forest. Each of the 13 caves has treasures and gems. Every day, the cave's guards can move the treasure to an adjacent cave or can keep it in the same cave. Meanwhile, every other day, treasure seekers visit the forest and have enough time to enter any 2 caves of their choice. How can the treasure seekers make sure to find the treasure in the minimum possible days? One of the treasure seekers should move clockwise every day, and one of the treasure seekers should move counterclockwise. This way, they'll find the treasure in a minimum of 7 days. Alice was sitting in her hotel room. Suddenly, she heard a knock on the door. She opened the door and saw a creepy woman standing outside. The woman said, "Oh, I'm really sorry. I thought this was my door." Then she walked through the corridor to the elevator. Alice didn't know the woman. She locked her door and called the hotel security. Alice asked them to arrest that woman. Why did the woman seem suspicious to Alice? If the woman thought the room was hers, she would have used the keys, but she knocked on the door. Alex, Amy, Allie, and Austin got trapped in a jungle. There's a bridge that can lead them back to the city safely. But the bridge is very old and dark. It can handle only 2 people to pass through. Also, the family has only 1 flashlight to move through the dark. Alex takes 1 minute to cross. Amy takes 2 minutes. Allie takes 4, and Austin takes 5 minutes. How can they all get to the other side in the minimum possible time? Here's what they've got to do. Alex and Amy should go first. It'll take them 2 minutes. Then Alex should spend 1 minute going back to Allie and Austin. Now Allie and Austin should take the flashlight and cross the bridge. It will take 5 minutes. Then Amy should come back to Alex. At this point, they've already spent 10 minutes. And now, Alex and Amy will have to spend 2 more minutes crossing the bridge. And this is how all of them will reach the other side in 12 minutes. Stephanie is a college professor. A supervisor will be visiting her class tomorrow. The supervisor can ask the students any questions. They can be either easy or difficult. Stephanie will still have the right to decide which student will be giving the answer to each question. Stephanie wants to leave the best impression. What instruction should she give to her students to maximize the chances of receiving a correct answer for each question? Can you help her? This task is pretty easy. All Stephanie needs to do is to ask all the students to raise their hands on every question. But those students who know the right answer should raise their left hand, and those who don't know the right answer should raise their right hand. This strategy will help Stephanie to get only correct answers. The supervisor will also be impressed because all the students will raise their hands. Molly and Polly are twins, but only one of them is a real police officer. Can you tell who? Molly. There's a camera filming Polly because she's an actress.
Mrs. Collins went on a business trip and her daughter Ella stayed in the house alone. Of course, the girl wanted to invite some friends over. Her mother knew it was inevitable, so she permitted Ella to invite no more than 2 friends. Mrs. Collins also asked a neighbor to keep an eye on her daughter. Here's what the neighbor saw when she approached the house. Is Ella following her mother's instructions? There are 5 cars parked by the house. Assuming that one of them belongs to Ella, there are at least 4 more girls in the house, but possibly even more. In any case, Ella invited over way more people than she was allowed to. Jason received a letter from a girl wanting to ask him out. Unfortunately, the letter wasn't signed, so he didn't know who the girl was. He only knew that it must be someone from his class. Take a look around. Which girl sent him the note? The letter is written in purple ink. Look, that girl over there has a purple pen, so she must be the secret admirer. Detective Callum got a call from a local store selling branded shoes. A pair of their expensive high-heeled shoes appeared to have been stolen. Unfortunately, the cameras didn't work that day and the footage wasn't available. But there was a camera at the entrance taking photos of people walking in and walking out of the store. Who is the robber? It's this woman. Look, she's gotten taller on her way out. Probably because she's wearing the shoes. A police officer was following a robber around the city. Suddenly, the robber entered the hospital and disappeared. When the police officer entered the building, there were 3 workers. One of them must be a robber who was pretending to be a patient. Can you identify this person? It definitely can't be this pregnant woman, and I doubt it's this old man. This man seems to be blind, but where is his stick then? I bet it's the robber who's wearing shades to pretend to be blind and draw away the police officer's suspicions. Take a look at these 3 people. One of them isn't a human, but who? It's this woman. Look, the hand behind her head is green. Avery was walking in a forest late at night. There was the full moon and she encountered 3 werewolves. Well, actually just 2, because one of them isn't a real werewolf. Which one? It's this one right here. Look, there's a zipper, so he's obviously wearing a costume. Okay, now take a look at this photo of people in a restaurant. One of them is a vampire hunter in disguise. If you were a vampire, who would you avoid at all costs? You'd have to avoid the place overall because it's the cook. Look, he's added garlic to the dishes. Now let's check how attentive you are. Now I'll be showing you some photos and you have to find out what's wrong or odd about them. Here's the first one. What do you say? Look, the ghost is plugged into a socket. Here's another one, again with a ghost. Are you attentive enough to notice what's wrong with this one? This ghost casts a shadow. You're doing great. Here's the next one. Keep your eyes wide open. What do you see? This vampire is tanned. Those guys never see sunlight, so they're very pale. Okay, the next one is just as tricky. We're in a house of a vampire. Can you notice what's wrong here? Look at the picture in the background. The vampire is on it, but vampires can't be photographed. Paige wasn't doing well in school, so she was grounded for all the winter holidays and forced to study. Her father would work the night shifts, so quite often he wasn't at home for a long time, so Paige would often sneak out. She was very careful so it would go unnoticed. But one early morning, the father came back and realized that Paige had sneaked out at night for a party. How did he figure it out? Look, Paige's car is the only one in the neighborhood that's not snow-covered. It means that she's recently used it. Mrs. Jones grounded her teenagers for throwing a party in the house the previous weekend. They weren't allowed to go out for 2 weeks and were under strong supervision. On Saturday, Mrs. Jones left for an hour to go grocery shopping. When she returned, she figured out that someone had sneaked out for that hour. Evie said, "I was watching Netflix." Dale said, "I was texting with a friend." Kaya said, "I just finished taking a shower." Who sneaked out? Kaya. If she had really just taken a shower, the bathroom mirror would be misted. But look, it's all clear, so she got an additional week at home. The next Saturday was supposed to be the last Saturday when the teenagers were grounded, and Mrs. Jones went shopping again. When she returned, she noticed dirt on the carpet in the hallway, so she knew right away that one of the teenagers sneaked out again. Evie said, "I was just reading in my room." Dale said, "I was gaming." Kaya said, "I was watching TikTok right here on the couch." Who sneaked out this time? This time, it must have been Dale. He has wet hair, which could be weird, but it's not. It's raining outside. It means he was outside and not just sitting in front of the computer. The next Saturday, only Evie wasn't grounded anymore. In a parallel universe, it's only allowed to have fun and eat candy. No one ever works or studies. Mrs. Relham came back home after a long and fun night at a club. Her 3 daughters were supposed to have fun too. She asked them what they had been doing. Hannah said, "I went to a party with my friends in that new dress you got me." Elle said, "I organized a sleepover. We were binge-watching shows and eating." Ava said, "I was gaming all day with my friends online." Still, Mrs. Relham could tell that one of her daughters lied and actually spent all day studying. Who was it? It was Hannah. Look, her dress is perfectly clean and still has a price tag on it. It doesn't seem like she wore it. As you remember, Elle had a sleepover with her friends, so her room is a complete mess right now. Now, she's going to a beach with her friends. She needs her sunglasses, sunscreen, and her swimsuit. Can you help her find them in the room? Yes, here they all are. Great job. A day after the beach, Elle is heading to her classmate's place for a party. She needs her dress, her handbag, and her lipstick. Can you help her find them? The dress, the handbag, and the lipstick. Did you find them all? Hannah was getting ready to meet her best friend for a picnic and didn't find some of her stuff. She remembered that she had lent her shoes, her hairdryer, and her backpack to her sister, Ava. Ava's room was no less of a mess than Elle's. Can you help Hannah find her stuff there? Here they are. Did you find everything she needed? Ava is getting ready for her volleyball practice. She needs her volleyball, her sneakers, and her hoodie. Where are they? They're all here. Esme was having a walk in the forest, and guess what? She didn't get lost. Here was her way home, but she decided to go and visit a witch because she had a deal for her. "I have a riddle. If you don't solve it, I'm taking your cat." The witch agreed. "When does New Year's Day come before Christmas Day?" The witch kept the cat. What was her response? New Year's Day comes before Christmas Day, literally every year. 2 famous film producers are having breakfast in an expensive restaurant. They're discussing the budget for a sequel to a very successful movie that got $500 million at the box office. They're talking very quietly since they mention important details of the script. They suspect that someone might overhear them. The producers are right. Some curious people are indeed eavesdropping on their conversation. Find them. There's a guy at the next table holding a magazine upside down. Obviously, he isn't reading it. That girl over there is a journalist. There's a camera lens sticking out of her backpack. See? And that man is eating a salad, but you can notice a microphone hidden in his long hair. 3 people are standing in line in front of an ice cream truck. The first guy is taking a cone from the vendor. The guy behind him is nervous. His hands are in his pockets. The third guy is looking at something through binoculars. Which one of them is a police officer? Look at the first guy. He's got a police radio in his pocket. A biker was traveling along a country road when he heard a scream. A woman was calling for help. She seemed to be in the forest. The biker rode in her direction and saw 3 girls among the trees. They were all begging him to save them from a vampire. "But which of you is the vampire?" the man asked. "It's her!" All the girls screamed and pointed at one another. How could the biker find out who was human? There are 2 side mirrors on the motorcycle. The biker needed to turn the handlebars and check which girl reflected in them. Mary opens her eyes and realizes that she's somewhere unknown. The last thing she remembers is walking in the park and then darkness. There's a lot of garbage in the room. A red lamp is flashing on the ceiling. Mary can leave through the door. It's open. But wait, she needs to take some useful stuff from the room. She can only choose 2 items. Which ones? Mary needs to get scuba gear and a mask. Look at that small window. Fish are swimming by. Mary is underwater. There are 4 inmates in this prison cell, and they all look pretty hardened to me. Well, all but one. There's a newbie here. Can you guess who it is? You might have thought on the desperate guy, but look, there are 5 dashes on the wall next to him. He's been in prison for some time already. The new guy is opposite him, with no dashes at all. Alex returns to his top-floor apartment after a workout at the gym. When he's having lunch, water utility workers come and knock on his door. They say the ceiling in Alex's apartment is about to collapse because his neighbors forgot to turn off a faucet. And now, they're flooding the building. They ask the guy to evacuate immediately. Alex closes the door and calls the police. Why? He lives on the top floor. No one can flood him. Annie just got a new motorbike she's been dreaming about for years. In the morning, she polished it for her evening bike ride, closed the garage, and went to work. In the evening, she opened the garage and found that her motorbike was gone. She questioned 3 neighbors. Adrian said, "When I went grocery shopping at noon, the motorbike was still in your garage." Angela said that she'd left before sunrise and had just returned home. Kate said that she hadn't paid any attention to Annie's house. She'd been worried about her job interview. Who stole the bike? Adrian. He said that he'd seen the bike in the garage, but it couldn't be true because it had been closed. There was a grand ball organized in honor of Miss Parsons' birthday, and half of the town was invited. Suddenly, the lights in the entire building went off for a couple of minutes. When the lights came back on, Miss Parsons' beautiful diamond earrings were missing. The main suspect was her distant cousin, Sylvia. But the girl said that she'd been in the bathroom fixing her makeup. She didn't even notice the lights had gone out because she'd been busy. Who's lying, Miss Parson or Sylvia? The lights went out in the entire building. If Sylvia had been fixing her makeup, she would have definitely noticed that something was wrong. Adele found her friend Oliver on the floor in his studio in the attic. She called the police. The officer who came asked the girl to tell him what had happened. Adele said that she'd been walking past Oliver's house and noticed that the lights were on. She came up to the window, peeked inside, and saw him on the floor. She called the police and ran into the house. The officer didn't believe her. Do you? No, it doesn't sound right. The guy was in the attic. Adele couldn't possibly see him through the window. One rainy evening, Martha came home and found that someone had eaten her chocolate bar.
Oh, no.
She asked her siblings who had done that. Laura said that she'd been working out in her room and she didn't even eat sweets. Ashley said that she would never eat someone else's chocolate. Luna said that she'd been outside watering plants in the garden. She had just come home herself. Who lied? I'd say it was Luna. It was raining outside, so she didn't really need to water the plants. Colette always wanted to get a cat, but her mom wouldn't allow her. Once, the girl found a kitten in the street and brought it home. She decided to hide the animal from her mom. Still, one morning, Colette's mom walked into her daughter's room and realized a cat lived there. How did she figure it out? Colette was wearing shorts and she had scratches on her legs. Jenny was locked in her room with 15 other people. Each of them could see the entire room with all the people inside without turning their head or body or moving in any other way. To get out of the room, Jenny had to place an apple in such a way that everyone but one person could see it. The girl managed to do it, but how? She put the apple on top of one person's head. An old sailor hauled a treasure chest from the seabed. As soon as he took one gold coin from there, a pirate appeared in front of him.
"How dare you touch my treasures?"
the pirate said.
"You're doomed to spend half of your life at sea and the other half on land."
The sailor is old and he doesn't know how much time he has left to live. How can he spend half of his remaining life in the water? He can do it if he spends one day at sea and another day on land. A teacher informed his students that there was just one question they had to answer to pass the exam. He took a shiny billiard ball out of his briefcase and put it on the desk.
Prove this ball doesn't exist,
the teacher said. By the end of the exam, all students wrote their answers, yet none of them passed, but one. That only student who wrote 2 words on their sheet of paper and got the passing grade. What did they write? What ball? You're walking through a dark forest and notice a door. It's just standing there by itself. You open it, take a step, and find yourself in a wonderful pink world. There are pink rivers and pink trees there. You see a 1-story pink house and go inside. All the furniture is pink. A meowing pink cat is walking around. You walk down the corridor to the stairs leading to the 2nd floor. What color is this staircase? There are no stairs in the house. It's a 1-story building, remember?